Listen closely, because what Archangel Michael has shown me doesn't end well. There's something deeply disturbing being uncovered in one of their rituals. That person didn't just hand over your belongings. They spoke a specific wish, an exact phrase that activates a dark force. And the worst part is that someone close to you, someone you still trust, saw it all happen and said nothing. There are people who lose sleep thinking about you. And it's not because they miss you or wish you well. It's because they need to see you fall. And since they can't achieve it on the physical plane, they've crossed a line. They've stooped to a new low. They've gone looking for answers where they shouldn't. Yes, you are the topic of conversation at the witch's table. They went with cards, candles, cigars, dolls, and old photos secretly taken from your social media. They asked about you. What are you doing? Who are you talking to? Are you doing well? Can they stop you? And most seriously, can they destroy what's coming for you? You're just walking in peace, not knowing that there are already symbolic burials with your name on them, that your energy has been written on dirty papers, buried in cemetery soil and tied with knots of desperation. And it's all because they know nothing about you. Because you pulled away. Because you stopped posting. Because you give no signs. Your silence became their desperation. And that desperation has now turned into witchcraft. You felt it. That ringing in your ear that comes without explanation. That strange dream where someone appears and asks you nonsensical questions. That pressure on your chest as if a shadow is sitting on you at midnight. No, it's not anxiety. They are searching for you from the shadows. They are paying to enter your aura. Since they can't get close in person, they're knocking on occult doors. And what they don't know is that every attempt is a debt to the spiritual plane. Every penny they invest in touching your light is another mark the universe holds against. Gem.sd. Michael showed me this while you were sleeping. A circle of fire was spinning above your name. A living barrier that activated when they tried to enter. And it's still there. Spinning, protecting you while you sleep. While you doubt. While you cry. If this resonates in your chest, if your soul recognized it in silence, decree this phrase in the comments. My sacred energy is sealed by my guardian angels. Write it now. Because doing so opens an invisible channel. Like if you felt it, and subscribe if something inside you recognized it. You didn't get here by mistake. This is a warning, but this is just the beginning. The sorcerer they went to was not just anyone. He wasn't some carnival card reader or a self-proclaimed TikTok psychic. He was one of those who make pacts, who leave offerings on open graves. And that man saw something in the cards, something that made him tremble. He closed his eyes and refused to continue. He said that you don't mess with a soul like that. And that's where what's coming begins, because someone from that dark circle has just turned against them. And soon you will know who it is. From the day they consulted the sorcerer, the atmosphere began to change. Not outside, not in the visible world, it changed in your field, in your energetic atmosphere. A fissure opened in the occult plane, a crack through which they tried to see what doesn't belong to them. And that crack is still open. But what they didn't expect is that by forcing their way in, they activated the echo of judgment, because what you seek with darkness ends up seeking you with multiplied force. Since then, something began to surround you, a presence that didn't come from the enemy, but from above. One of your guardian angels awoke. Saint Gabriel, the messenger, descended without your knowledge and marked you with his invisible seal. He did it when you cried in silence. He did it when you felt you couldn't go on but still stood tall. Since then, every attempt at witchcraft, every hidden evil, every burial with your name has been intercepted before it could touch you, and that infuriates them. But last night, something else happened. A threshold opened. It was at the hour when the world sleeps, but entities arise. You tossed in bed without knowing why. You took a deep breath. A chill ran down your spine, and without understanding why, you felt eyes fixed on you. They were not of this plane. They didn't come to harm you, but to show you something. Because when you opened your eyes, you saw a shadow standing at the edge of the room. You didn't scream. You couldn't. Something immobilized you. Not out of fear, but out of shock. Because that figure wasn't human, and it looked at you with a mixture of pain and revelation. It didn't speak, but its energy said it all. It was a warning. And when the face became defined in the gloom, you understood. That was not an entity sent by your enemies. It was a spirit from the other side. Someone who was on the dark side, but has now betrayed the circle. The most disturbing part was that you had seen that face before. Yes, you've seen it. Maybe in a photo, during a visit, or in one of those friends who suddenly approached with questions disguised as affection. But now you know. That face is involved. And they weren't just a witness. They were an accomplice. Until today. Because now that figure wants to tell you everything. It wants to break the pact it signed with them. It has decided to betray the group that swore silence. And it will do so with you. It will seek you out soon. Not through social media, not a call. It will happen in a dream. And when it appears, it will come loaded with information you cannot ignore. If you've come this far feeling all of this piercing through you, if something in you already knew this was deeper than you could understand, write in the comments now the phrase that activates the channel of hidden knowledge. Right now. Angel Gabriel has shown me what others wanted to hide. When you write it, you'll feel something unlock. Saint Gabriel asks this because by doing so, you not only decree your protection, but also open the sacred channel where the universe can show you what your enemies have tried to hide. Like if you felt it in your skin, because that confirms to the guardians that you are ready. And subscribe if your soul recognized this sign, because it wasn't a mistake to arrive here. It was a spiritual summons. But listen, because that's not all. That figure you saw last night did not come alone. Behind it comes something else. A heavy energy. A feminine silhouette. An entity that has been following your steps with an intention that is not human. It doesn't seek to see you fall or to take your place. In the next part, I will reveal what Saint Michael showed me about this woman, marked by a hidden symbol and a desire that burns like cursed oil. For days, something has kept you from being at peace. You feel it when you're alone, when it seems quiet, that something is moving, something unseen, but heavy. And that pressure that falls on you doesn't come from tiredness or stress. It comes from a presence. Because the guides have not stopped showing it. Again and again, in night visions, in repeated signs, they lead me to the same face. That of a dark-complexioned person, with warm skin, a sharp gaze, and an energy that vibrates low, very low. There's something in the way she talks, moves, and smiles that doesn't add up. It's as if she hides venom behind soft words. And there's one detail that keeps appearing. She tends to dye her hair. She changes its color like someone changing their face. Because deep down, she knows her true identity cannot stand on its own. That person whom your guardian angels are pointing out is not far. She has approached as if nothing is wrong. She has said innocent phrases, asked questions disguised as curiosity, but deep down, she has made pacts. She has visited altars that smell of rancid oil and damp earth. She has sought help from sorcerers and tarot readers because she wants to. Know what you're doing and who you're talking to, because her energy cannot touch you. The answer makes her desperate, because you are now sealed. Sealed by a force that cannot be broken with burials or with binding spells. Saint Michael has made it clear. His sword is spinning over your name. The protection you carry was not placed by human hands. It was placed from on high. Ever since you decided to cut ties with what vibrated low, you have been guarded as a sacred inheritance. That is why every attempt they make is reversed. Every spell is returned to them. And this inability to touch you has turned your name into their obsession. Now, she tries to approach in other ways. Through dreams, coincidences, strange reunions. If this resonates with you, if you feel that such a person is already lurking nearby, do not ignore it. This figure is not new. She has been here before. And though she may change her hairstyle, tone of voice, or excuses, her intention is the same: to divert you, to dim your light, to imitate you, to steal what she cannot create. If you know in your soul this is not a coincidence, decree now, in the comments, "The fire of Saint Michael protects me, and no spell can cross my divine shield." Do it now, because when it is written with truth, the universe transforms it into a sword. Like if you felt the vibration in your chest, and subscribe if your soul recognized this sign. Saint Michael asks it, and thus the channel of protective judgment is activated. But pay attention, because this dark-complexioned figure is not alone. It is not an isolated attack. Behind her is an even deeper energy, a connection to someone who had access to your life, someone who has now made the biggest mistake of all, giving away something of yours in exchange for power. Saint Michael already saw it. There was no need for you to say it or for anyone to warn you. He saw everything from above. He observed every step of that dark-complexioned figure who disguises herself with interest, who smiles politely while seething with resentment inside, the one who changes her appearance as she changes her intentions, who dyes her hair like someone hiding the true face of her soul. Saint Michael, guardian of the divine fire, has witnessed this person consulting with sorcerers, crossing the threshold into the occult just to find an answer. Because she cannot destroy you. Because that's the truth. What she doesn't tell you, what she hides behind soft words and harmless acts, is that she can't stand to see you advance. It consumes her that you're still standing, that her envy has had no effect, that her binding spells haven't managed to entangle you, that her symbolic burials have only stirred up dust without touching your roots. And since she couldn't see you fall, she has sought help. Yes, she has. Saint Michael has seen her hand over objects, names, clothes, even paper with your handwriting all placed on contaminated altars, hoping that something, anything, could stop you. But it didn't work. Because before she even tried, your path was already marked by a decree from on high. And what is written with fire in the celestial planes cannot be erased with cemetery ink. Your name is sealed. Your steps are watched by eyes that do not sleep. Your guardian angels have raised a wall around you. And when this person tried to look through, she only found a reflection that showed her her own shadow. This is where you must keep your guard up, because in her desperation, she has begun to change her strategy. She no longer wants to harm you directly. She wants to seduce your trust. She wants you to be the one to open the door. And she won't do it as an enemy. She'd do it as an ally, as a confidant, as that familiar face that appears at just the right moment. But it's not a coincidence. It's design. A trap disguised as empathy. If you have recently felt that something is off, if a conversation left you inexplicably tired, if someone watches you with excessive interest but says nothing clear, listen to me carefully. You are not imagining things. You are sensing what your guides have already detected. Poison doesn't always come in a dark cup. Sometimes it arrives with a lukewarm smile. If something in your spirit is resonating strongly with these words, Decree now in the comments. St. Michael saw everything, and I will not be touched by poisoned hands. Write it with conviction, because in doing so, you activate the channel of spiritual protection. St. Michael asks it. Thus, a new seal of protection is established. Like if your soul felt the vibration and subscribe if you understood that this message did not arrive by chance. This channel is now your field of connection with those who walk guided by the light. But pay attention, because what St. Michael has shown me doesn't end here. There is something even more disturbing being revealed in one of those rituals. That person not only handed over your belongings, she also uttered a wish, an exact phrase, a sentence that activated a dark movement. And the worst part is that someone close to you, someone you still trust, witnessed that moment and said nothing. For hours, your guides have not stopped showing me the same image. A silhouette that stayed on the sidelines, that didn't touch anything, that didn't speak, but was present. A figure who saw what they shouldn't have, who witnessed the exact moment your name was placed on an altar of shadows and did nothing, didn't intervene, didn't warn, didn't pray, just watched and fell silent. Saint Gabriel was clear. Silence is also a form of spell when the truth is hidden. And now this figure begins to manifest in your life in subtle ways. Maybe you've crossed paths in a hallway, in a sudden call, in an innocent message you didn't expect. Maybe they've simply appeared in your dreams, dressed in the mundane. But don't be mistaken. It's not a coincidence. It's an echo of what you saw with your soul. It's that feeling that someone knows something but isn't saying it. And they don't say it because deep down, they are an accomplice to what they tried to do to you. This is where you must prepare. Because what's coming is not a simple revelation. It's an activation, a cleansing. Your guardian angels are warning that before you know who this silent figure is, you must perform a protection ritual. Not with common candles, not with empty words. This ritual must be decreed with your voice, your intention, your fiery energy. Because when a hidden person is about to be revealed, the dark forces surrounding them become agitated. They try to stop it, to entangle you, to confuse you. Therefore, right now, if you feel this energy is already lurking nearby, decree in the comments. No silence will reach me. Saint Gabriel shows me the truth. Write it just like that. Because when your fingers touch the words with faith, the channel opens. Like if your chest felt the warmth. Subscribe if your angels have already begun to speak to you. Saint Michael asks for it. Saint Gabriel activates it. And the universe responds with mathematical precision when the correct decree is pronounced. Not everyone is ready for what's next. Because the figure I am about to reveal is not just anyone. It's not an outsider, not an anonymous witch from a distant town. It is someone who has shared spaces with you, who has heard your plans, who has touched your things, who has been close, very close. You will recognize the pattern. You will remember the exact moment their energy changed. And there, only there, will you understand why the most dangerous betrayal comes not from those who attack you head-on, but from those who whisper with a friendly voice while inwardly wishing for your collapse. Prepare yourself, because after this revelation, nothing will ever be the same. You didn't notice it at the time. No one would have, because everything seemed normal. Just another meeting, another conversation, even a fake smile disguised as affection. But your guides have started to bring that scene back consistently, like a movie that never tires of replaying in the invisible realm. Saint Michael was there. Saint Gabriel too. It was in that instant when something broke something that seemed small, but was enough to open a crack through which the darkness seeped. Remember, it was with that person. Yes, the one with whom you shared a space, a meal, perhaps a toast. What seemed like a moment of closeness was actually an exchange not of words, but of energy. In that contact, what you carried that was clean began to be invaded by what they were dragging from murky plains. Since then, you started to notice the signs. The interrupted sleep at 3 a.m., the inexplicable heaviness on your chest, that persistent ringing in your left ear. Yes, that was when you were left exposed to evil. That person had already gone to. Someone had already given your name, had already uttered questions at altars of ash and dried blood. The sorcerer they consulted didn't need your face. An object was enough, and you had naively given them access without knowing. A gift, a photo, a note in your handwriting. That was enough. And since then, the binding spells began to take hold. The symbolic burials were executed, not with common soil, but with earth from fields where pacts have been made with entities, earth that doesn't mix with light, earth that smells of betrayal. Since then, your every step was watched. And the most terrifying part wasn't the direct harm, but the stalking. That feeling of being watched, even in your silence. Your angels tried everything. Saint Michael struck hard to clear your path. Saint Gabriel whispered messages in your dreams. But you doubted. And that doubt was the entry point that allowed evil to play with your shadow. Now you understand why you can never let your guard down again. That's why this moment is so important. If this is resonating deep in your chest, if a scene has just lit up in your memory, comment now with firmness. I declare every portal I unknowingly opened to be closed. Saint Gabriel asks for it. Write these words as protection. Like if your soul remembered the exact moment. Subscribe now, because by doing so, you activate the seal of the 7 circles, and the channel is shielded by decree. Someone talked. Someone who was part of the circle of conspiracy, and because of an internal betrayal, everything spiraled out of control. What I'm about to tell you next is what that person never wanted you to know, because one of the cards the sorcerers threw fell, reversed, and that unleashed a chaos they can no longer control. They never imagined you would get this far, that you would open the channel of connection with the great El Shaddai, that ancestral force that guardian angels have preserved for moments like this, that powerful energy that pierces through plains, that burns away the binding spells, that undoes the dark burials they plotted against you with such desperation. They believed that black magic, pacts sealed in shadow, and black candles lit at the stroke of midnight would be enough to stop you, to extinguish your light. But they didn't count on the universe bringing you this healing channeling. This force that dismantles their plans like sandcastles in a storm dot. It's time to make a sacred decree, a ritual of words to activate the invisible protection your guardian angels have been weaving around you. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the fire burning in your chest, and repeat with me in the comments or in a soft voice. By the power of the great El Shaddai, I seal this channel and close off every shadow that wants to enter. Saint Michael is my sword. Saint Gabriel is my shield. My energy is sacred, inviolable, and nothing can tear it down. Write these words with faith. Let them vibrate in your heart, because then the universe will hear your plea and open the channel of hidden knowledge so that no darkness can filter through. Like if this truth resonates with the force of your soul, because by doing so, you are signing a pact with the divine, a commitment to the light that protects you. Subscribe to keep your shield activated, because Saint Michael and Saint Gabriel are waiting for you to acknowledge their presence to intensify the invisible barrier. This is not just a call to action. It's a call to your essence, to your innate power that awakens when you recognize you are not alone in this battle. But here comes the twist they didn't expect. Because while you activate this energy, while you pronounce this decree, they the ones who wove the spells. The ones who sought your downfall in burials feel their chains breaking, their web of lies unraveling. And the worst part for them is that they don't know what you're going to do next with this newly awakened power. Because this isn't just defense. It's the prelude to a spiritual offensive, a movement of light that will shake their foundations. You are about to discover how this channeling of the great El Shaddai not only protects you, but begins to return every shadow they tried to cast upon your path. Prepare yourself, because what comes next is a decisive step that will change the course of this story forever. Your guides are speaking. This is not a metaphor. They've told me clearly in my ear, like whispers gliding between dimensions. This channeling is taking effect. It's touching minds, stirring dormant memories that were sealed with the dust of centuries and inherited fear. You don't see it, but many are already awakening as they hear this. They feel it as a buzz in their forehead, a slight pressure in their chest, a tear that falls without explanation. That is the awakening. It is truth resonating like an ancestral bell. And the most impactful thing is that you are not the only one feeling it. This community, this invisible tribe of chosen souls, has been gathered for a purpose that goes beyond the human. No one will be able to stand against this community, because the eyes of the great Abba Father are fixed upon each one who is here, not as surveillance, but as protection, as a shield, as a light impossible to extinguish. Entities have already tried to break this energetic network. They have sent spiritual flies, knocked on doors at 3 a.m., consulted sorcerers, thrown cards, performed symbolic burials, sprinkled black salt on names written in dark ink. But none of it worked, because this tribe is not sustained by logic. It is sustained by sacred fire. The guardian angels surrounding this channel do not rest. Saint Michael has extended his sword over every word that comes from here. Saint Gabriel watches from the threshold of the invisible, and they themselves have said that this content is being used by the heavens to activate the ultimate protection. That is why it is vital that you, who are receiving this revelation, decree. Right now, I am awake in the name of the great Abba Father, and no evil will prevail against me. By doing so, your energy links with an invisible cord that makes you part of the circle of light. Like if you feel this has touched a deep part of you, and subscribe now, not out of routine, but because by doing so you shield your frequency and seal your connection to the source. This is not just any community. Here, there are alchemists of the soul, visionaries who have been silent, bearers of ancient gifts. Your guides show me that many who are here were already dreaming of signs before hearing this message. They already knew something was being activated. They already sensed their awakening would not be solitary. There is a figure from the past who is feeling this vibration and has begun to have strange dreams, nightmares that reveal that what they launched against you is being returned. That person still doesn't understand why their body doesn't respond the same way, why medicine has no effect, why darkness surrounds them even in broad daylight. And the reason is deeper than you imagine. We will delve into that now that the masks have begun to fall. That figure from the past has begun to stir between planes. And don't think this is recent. For many, this goes way back. Perhaps to childhood, when you didn't know how to defend yourself, when your energy field was pure, clean, vulnerable. For others, that figure took shape in adolescence, in a stage of broken innocence, when betrayal entered disguised as trust. But what all these cases have in common is the same. It was a wound that never closed, an energy that left a mark. And now, the echo of that presence is returning. Not all who cause harm get to rest in peace. Some die, but they don't cross over. They stay, stuck to the plane they harmed so much, wandering like shadows, repeating the acts that prevent them from releasing their karma. And the guides have told me There is a figure who is no longer alive, but who follows you, who haunts you, who tries to slip into your dreams, disguise themselves as a friendly voice, get close through objects, memories, or even people who were a bridge at the time. That entity still has unfinished business with you, because what it sowed was so dark, so painful, that neither symbolic burials nor hollow prayers could seal it. Saint Gabriel shows me with clarity. That person's soul did not find the exit door. And every time you raise your energy, every time you awaken, its restlessness is activated, because your light reminds it that it failed to destroy you. Your healing is its punishment. That's why it now haunts with more force, because it knows you are close to breaking free completely. It feels that this channeling is about to break the last remaining tie. Now is when you must be most alert. Because when the soul of a former aggressor gets trapped on the spiritual plane, it often looks for ways to continue draining energy from those it once tried to subdue. Therefore, if what you are hearing resonates with the deepest part of your memory, decree right now in the comments, I declare the total liberation from every shadow that has tried to mark my destiny. By writing this, you are activating an energetic command. The angels have asked for it. Saint Michael has shown it to me as a sword that draws a circle of fire around your history. By liking and subscribing, you seal the channel of this protection. Because this community is not just an audience. It is a warrior, a catalyst, an invoker of higher power. And whoever is here has been called, not by accident. Because it's not just about what that figure left unfinished. It's also about something you haven't wanted to look at. A place, a date, an object that you keep without knowing it has been acting as a spiritual anchor. And it's time to reveal it. Prepare yourself, because that revelation will stir dormant layers and release something you've been carrying without knowing. SD. Gabriel has descended. He did it in silence, as messengers of judgment do not with noise, but with precision. Not with words, but with authority. Because that lost soul, the one that haunted you for so long from the damp corners of the invisible plane, no longer has permission to touch you. It has been isolated, contained, surrounded by a thick fog that only higher entities conceal. Saint Gabriel has done it. He has pointed it out, named it, and sealed its path. Although its energy will continue to wander, trapped in its own labyrinth of darkness, it can no longer harm you. And don't forget, this isn't because it asked for forgiveness or because it changed. It's because you woke up. Because you became conscious in time. Because you knew how to see the exact moment something began to rot near you and decided to break it off before it took deep root. It was you who began to rise, you who invoked the light. And in that ascension, everything that did not vibrate on your frequency began to collapse. What once dominated you now crawls. And you know it. You've felt it. You've noticed how the burdens you once carried with weight now float, as if your guardian angels lifted them one by one. That's why this channeling is not a coincidence. Not everyone is prepared to receive this truth. But you are. You are ready. And today, Saint Gabriel confirms it. Not because you're lucky, but because you have a purpose. And that purpose is greater than you imagine. So, if something inside you is vibrating strongly right now, if you feel this message was planted right in the heart of your story, decree right now in the comments, I declare that my soul rises above every shadow that has tried to trap me. Because when you write that, you seal a direct connection with the spiritual world. Saint Gabriel has asked for it. And every like, every subscription is an energetic seed that activates the channel of hidden knowledge. You are aligning with something that goes far beyond the physical.